And now it is time to welcome in the head coach of the New York Giants, Joe Judge, here on the Joe Judge Report presented by Stop and Shop, as we're going to look back at some key plays in the Giants win. And, Coach, 3-0, third quarter, and then you get your touchdown, and it's to an unlikely source, 2 weeks in a row. But Chris Myrick, who you needed up because Caden Smith was down, Kyle Rudolph was down, makes a big play for you.
Yeah, Mark's done a good job for us working throughout the year, being ready when his number's been called. And had him up for a few games, and this was just part of the plan going in there and talking about how we wanted to play in the red area to finish drives. We knew we had to go ahead and have some plans to run the ball in, but in early downs, Philadelphia's really been successful at stopping runs down there on the goal line. And just really watching and seeing what they use and how we can kind of use it against them a little bit. And just the penetration they look to create up front. We talked before about short yardage, goal line. It's all about penetration. Who can reset that line of scrimmage and take advantage of it? And what we want to use in this case right here is just a little bit of deception right here. A lot of our short yardage plays have been to Eli Penny this year in terms of picking up a first down on a third or a 4th and 1 type situation. So we knew it was a situation we can go ahead and get the linebacker sucked up a little bit. And then if we can get the penetration up front to take these guys out of the play, create a little bit of space in a reduced part of the field here, and create a situation for either Myrick, Saquon, or really Evan coming back over for a quick read for Daniel to go ahead and get that thing out. So it starts off first with the play fake in terms of really selling the run. And you see it right away, just that quick little action right there. Things happen so fast down here. Obviously, they've got to commit everything to stopping that run. Instead of being so much of a pass rush, this is really just a run, stop, and fill the gaps, penetrate on back. And now you've really essentially taken this part of the field and made it kind of 7-on-7 like you play with the pass game and really created just the space leaking on out and remove these guys as being a factor from the play right there. So that low red area play action in terms of really taking away a strength of the team, and making them play in space how you want to play right there. So good job here, Daniel, selling the fake and then looks on out. Obviously, he sees, all right, with vision, they push out over Saquon right there. His next read brings him inside to Myrick, and you're going to see the high-low combination with Myrick and then Evan. And the fundamental really ties in here. We talk all the time with the quarterbacks about ball placement and how critical it is in certain situations of where you've got to place the ball. So we teach our guys on the goal line, we want the ball low. Reason being, it's either going to be us or nobody catching the ball. When you talk about a low ball, there's a less likelihood of a tip, deflection, or interception that's going to happen in these closed spaces where a lot of contact is going to happen when the ball is hitting the receiver. On the back end line, if it was Evan right here, we want to reach that thing up and throw it high. So it's low on the goal line, high on the back end line. Again, concept being it's us or nobody in terms of how we want to throw it. So again, going to here in terms of what Daniel sees as it evolves out, you see the backer push wide. There's a little window, and things happen just so quickly down in the red area before he even has to go ahead and read for Evan to come along the back end line right there. He sees Chris get open and does a really good job of getting around on it, getting the ball low on Chris, going down there, and that's the point right there. There's no chance on a high throw of that thing tipped, deflected, or broken up by contact. Ball goes low. We get it, going to the ground, secure it, get the touchdown again. You can see that high-low read right there, that if he doesn't like Chris, all right, that as he's pushing, he's going to take that run away and really creating space. The vertical space has been eliminated just by nature of where you're on the field. So you got to create that horizontal stretch. So you're running vertically away from, but you're really running sideways to create that stack. So we kind of teach this in terms of if they're running down the sideline, you want to get that corner stacked on your back hip and really separate and stack them vertically down the field. In this instance here, Evan wants to go across and then stack them like he's running down the field, but put him on his back hip where the ball's going to be led away from him into the corner of that end zone with a good high throw. So again, good catch right here by Chris. Does a good job going down there, actually pins between his legs and finishes the catch. All right, but you can see it from the back end again, just how it develops with the spacing on the play. And again, you talk about the reduced space down here and how fast everything happens in the red area, especially the low red area, because just how many defenders are in your face right there, looking to go ahead and break on it. And again, off the play fake, really commits this entire part of their defense to it. And now you're creating those one-on-one matchups, okay, with your receivers out in space. And again, you see these tight windows, they're breaking right away on the throw. If the ball's thrown up high in the face or even the chest, there's always that chance for that hit. That ball gets deflected, tipped up. There's too many defenders running or breaking on it to risk the interception. It's good ball placement down low right here on Myrick, and it's a good job getting the points.
Coach, if you go back just to the pre-snap, I think also the key here is the linebacker widens because he actually sees Chris make a legitimate block. It wasn't like a tap and then he releases. So he's like, oh my gosh, it's a block and he's got to get out to the flat. Is that how that's being taught?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk about run action passes where it's in the field or in the red area. You've got to block the run. You've got to really sell. There's different play action where it's just more of a ball fake and run action where the offensive line is truly just blocking the run. And by doing that, you see Myra come down here and really commit to it. That's going to take him off any kind of man responsibility he would have on that tight end. So as Saquon pushes wide and they match him with the width DB right out here, you see just as Singleton pushes out, that becomes that window he can hit, and that's that little bit of space where he'll develop. Now, if he sits there tight and squeezes on Chris, then Evans got to win on that back end right there and make that play.
The Giant touchdown gives Big Blue a 10-0 lead. Ensuing kickoff, and Coach, you're trying to create field position, doing it with your special teams, and your kickoff coverage here was excellent. Yeah,
covering kicks has to be a key part of what you do, especially this time of year in the Northeast, because touchbacks really isn't something we're looking to play for anyway, but you're not going to always have a touchback. So the ability to cover every kick and create some field position is big for us right there. We really count this again. This is P and 10. This is really the first play of the possession. This is possession and 10. This is a defensive play for us right here. So the first thing I want to point out is just in terms of what we're doing a lot schematically, and this is really no secret from the guys in the league, so I'm not really revealing anything they don't know already, but because we've moved the ball so effectively with Graham, really on hit placements throughout the year, it's really forcing a lot of teams to play that defensive mentality as a kick return team. You see the Eagles come out and they play two deep returners. And when you get a team in two deep returners, what they're really trying to do is play a check with me type of return. All right, meaning if the ball's kicked over here, they'll bring it to the boundary. This returner has to turn to a blocker, and then vice versa. You know, if they get over here to Rieger, then he's going to turn to a blocker right there and get that thing vertical to the sideline. Again, what that does is puts a lot of stress on the front line right here in terms of they've got to have a reactionary assignment. So as they turn around, they've got to identify the kick direction, where it's going, then who they're blocking, what leverage they're blocking them with, and making sure any kind of movement, twist, or floating foldovers, they've got to go ahead and pass off or communicate as a unit. So it puts a lot of stress on the return team. The other thing it does is when you start putting two skill players back deep, you truly lose one of the blockers. And you can see right here, you know, Philly used more of a tight end, fullback, linebacker type of body type like most people will as those second level blockers. And they're really there to create a little more of a size matchup over your speed players coming down the field for the kickouts and then the lane to get inside. Once you go ahead and put those two returners back there, you've essentially put a lesser blocker back there and you create an advantage for your cover guys. Now, just talking about kick placement wise, Graham does a really good job of, number one, putting the ball wherever we ask him to. Number two, hanging up there with good hang time. And also, he does a really good job of finding space and formations or finding the matchup we're looking in terms of side of a blocker, kicking to the kick side, backside, whatever it may be, or also just going ahead and keeping these guys guessing. So Graham does a good job in this one right here, talking about really getting the ball down there. It's good hang time. It hangs and it pushes right outside the numbers. Now, again, we'll go ahead and move the ball, all right, schematically, all different parts of the field based on where we want to go. But this is one here. Graham want to hit this thing outside the numbers. And what that does for us is it gives us good, hard declare angles, especially on the backside where they know where to avoid and get to the ball and really cut off that field. So there's only really dealing with a third of the field to return with. Now, on the front side, we got to come down and play leverage and make sure that we're cutting off these side returns so he can't run outside and eliminate these guys from having a chance to get to the ball and make a tackle. We talk about the kick side avoids right here. It's a good example here. These guys just playing off each other as the kick side five guys. And again, we say before, if you start on the left side, you end up on the left side of the returner. If you start on the right side, you end up on the right side of the returner. And that's how we define to keep our leverage going down the field. And I'm going to start outside in with these guys in terms of just watch them go on down the field. Now, schematically, everybody has some kind of a safety or a second-level player who's going to play off the guys in front of them, make sure that if it splits, you've got a guy on the second level to make a tackle. Now, we change kick by kick, game by game, whatever we feel like doing. All of our guys are cross-trained as safeties or penetrators run down the field. So it gives a little more freedom that teams have to go ahead and account for all five on each side, and they can't just let someone go and say, if we get up to the safety, we've had a productive return. In this instance right here, all right, you can see the safety was moved more inside to float on out, and that's created more of a penetrating mindset outside in, and that really cuts off those boundary returns. So as you can see, here comes the two blockers inside out. Here comes Cam and Colin on the outside in, and you can see right there, just we talk about having a lesser blocker and having a better cover player right there getting to the ball. And here's Cam right here going against Rieger, who's used to having the ball all right, in his hands, not necessarily blocking for the returner. So that creates a free runner for us right there, running by a frontline player, and then also the back end is looking to clean it up. And then what we'll talk about all the time is just being on levels, all right, defeating with contact here. Colin goes down, takes a good shot, okay, ends up missing a tackle right here. And then you see Penny right here thumping, going hand to hand. All right, here comes Parker right here folding over. So once he makes the first man miss, he's got 1, 2, 3 guys really sitting there waiting, and then the safety scraping over top. There's really nowhere for him to go. All right, Keon's cut off the field. Here comes the field side leverage, closing it off. Graham scraping over top is an emergency. But we've got the kick side assigned that there's really nowhere to go. So that first man going down there, being aggressive to take his shot, go to make the tackle, make the returner stop his feet and redirect, and there's that net of coverage there behind him right there. And it's a good opportunity for us to put them inside the 20-yard line to start our defense.
So the Giants special teams unit pins Philadelphia. Eagles get called for a penalty. So, Coach, it's 1st and 18 from the Eagles' own 9-yard line, and they decide to take a shot, and you guys are ready for it.
Yeah, well, you want to go ahead and maintain the field position you create, and the defense does a really good job of not only doing that here, but also creating a turnover. We knew going into this game, turnovers were going to be a key part of it. Philadelphia did a great job in the previous games. Really, their last 4 games, they're one of the top in the league in terms of producing turnovers and having that edge on opponents. That's something we always stress as a team, is making sure that we don't give the ball away, and when we have opportunities to take it away ourselves. The defense has been doing a very good job of really being ball hawks in terms of getting balls out of the air and then ripping balls off teams and forced fumbles and getting returns. So this was a great example here of really playing together. And what it comes down to really is there's some scheme elements of it, but really it just comes down to good fundamentals, all right, by Zay McKinney playing that deep field. And again, we talk all the time about the importance of having that deep field safety. And look, ultimately, it's a passing league. You've got to stop the run, but these quarterbacks get paid so much money because they can throw the ball as well as they are. So really, you've got to make sure you always defend the defense from the top down and make sure the ball doesn't get thrown over your head. Zay does a great job for us in the deep part, and this is a good example here of how you can take a play and make it look routine that actually is a game-swinging type of play. Now, up front, again, like everything, we want to make sure we try to keep this quarterback in the pocket, not give him an opportunity to use his legs, get on the edge, and scramble and extend plays. So in terms of the pass rush up front, we'll see this from the side in a second. All right, the rush does a good job right here of making sure they keep him inside. Now, we want to make sure we rush to the quarterback and then full back and not run by and give him a chance to run up and have open lanes. One thing that shows up here, and you see it really good from the side, Austin Johnson's doing a nice job for us as he's seeing the double, making sure in these pass rush lanes that as the other guys are getting penetration, he's actually staying balanced and spying on the quarterback to make sure if he steps up, he can counter back and be disruptive in that situation to stop the run coming up. And, of course, we've got zone vision with the linebackers who would break on a run right there anyway. But he's doing a really good job not having everybody run by the quarterback and then putting stress on the linebackers to pick my zone depth or run up and stop the quarterback run immediately. Now, pre-snap, there's some good recognition out here, and obviously Jalen does a really good job of commanding this offense. He ends up checking the play on the line of scrimmage. And we're just watching outside. It's going to be a 3-deep defense right here. And just watching A-Rob, okay, on the receiver up top. And he's playing on back right here. Good vision. And now he's playing really to squeeze it back to Zay. And he's eliminating the outside play right here. They can keep his eyes on the quarterback and keep it funnel. He does a good job really in this position of not panicking. You see a lot of corners in the league when they get in this position panic. They start reaching out, grabbing, having penalties, and giving free yards. He does a really good job right here of trusting his speed up top. All right, putting himself in a trail position, and then as the ball's coming, you see his eyes back and locating it, and it puts him in a position where he can go up and make the pass breakup. Now, the big thing is the angle of departure that Zay takes right here, okay, and does a really good job. It's not just about recognizing that it's a deep pass. It's about recognizing when that ball's coming out of the quarterback's hand, what's the angle you've got to get based on the speed of the receiver and where that ball's trying to meet him at the mesh point. Zay does a really good job. And again, you want to make sure you play with depth over everything. So he knows it can't be too flat a break because the receiver will be by him right here. He really does a good job of taking that deep angle that he can get beyond the ball where it's going to be. And then you actually see him get to this point where he retraces. Instead of playing here down, he can now break earlier, go up. And we talk about high pointing the ball and always catching it at its highest point. Don't give them an opportunity to go up and break it up when you're trying to catch that thing like a basket. He does a good job of securing it with both hands, and then you see immediately he brings it into his body and goes down to the ground right there and secures it. So it's a big play right there, and there's a couple of guys made the tackle on the kickoff to put him down there. You know, first one's to celebrate on the sideline, happy for the teammates in the field position they created. Now, as we go to the back view here, you kind of see how all the pieces fit, and again, you know, it starts up front with the guys getting penetration, disrupting. Obviously, Jalen wants to sit back here, hit his back foot, and then step comfortably into it. Dex is doing a really nice job here of just getting color in his face and penetrating. And you see Q on the outside getting ready to counter on back and close off that gap as he gets up the field. You see him starting to spin right there. Aziz, same thing. He's spying not to run on by it. Dex gives the penetration. You see Austin's eyes on Jalen right here, doing a nice job over top. And then when Jalen steps into the pass right here, just feeling the presence And then ultimately it comes down to the fundamentals of the deep field technique right there of Zay going up for the high point. This is a drill they do every day in practice. Jeremy Pruitt, Jerome Henderson get the DBs every day. They go out there and they work this exact technique with the corners and the safeties, work deep balls with our receivers, rush our corners and safeties all the time. It's a fundamental you can't take for granted right there. So it's kind of like playing center field in baseball in terms of having the depth perception and the instincts of understanding where that ball is going to go.
And Coach, the thing about when you said playing like a center fielder, it's also his body's in position, but he's totally relaxed in getting this football. It's not like he's going to go up and attack the ball, but he's actually fielding the ball.
100%. It's about having good hands, but it's also about being poised in that situation. Yeah. And we jokingly say to these guys a lot of times, it's why you play defense, not offense. But the reality is, these guys got to be very quick react and go up there, make strong catches right there, and they've got to have as good a hands as the receivers to truly be as productive as safeties or corners as they can be. Zay's a guy that has the ability to really do a lot of things for us on the team. He's a guy who's on our hands team. He's a guy that's been a factor as a possible emergency returner for us at times. So he's a guy that has a very good skill set to work it, but really just that depth perception, the instincts and the angles to track the ball. These are things you look at for players coming out in the draft that are critical factors. You've got to find their ability, especially as a safety. Can they play in a deep part of the field? And that's not as easy as it sounds.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Best of luck on Sunday.
I appreciate you guys.